Hey everybody. It's like waking up from a dream. This is inspired by a lesson. That's where I'm at right now. The state of bliss over here at Next Level Guitar. How you doing? Come along with me on this one, people. This is one of my favorite groups. We're going to have a good time. We're going to play around with some classic chords, but we're going to keep a melody through the whole chord change, and that's kind of what's really nice about this. And then we'll take it and we'll make those chords completely different so we can be even more inspired. So, hey everybody, you know what I'm going to say? Fantastic information coming your way. All you got to do is just click on the link that you see below in that YouTube text box. And if you click on that link below, what you're going to get is a free video that is not available on YouTube and a coinciding ebook that is great with all kinds of scales, chord diagrams, and just a lot of crucial information that you need to have every day in your playing. And all this is free, and you just got to click on that link below. The first thing we're going to think about is how we can manipulate our classic old D chord. So let's take a look here. Now, everybody knows that when we take this D sound, we can lift up, the middle finger, even kind of add the pinky, and you get all these neat little suspensions off of that D chord, and that's really, really a cool thing to do. Now, what we're going to try to keep is the reoccurring melody of this open string and some of this movement on the high E string. So, like, for example. Now we can take that and maybe even go the other way. And maybe get all three in there. So to start off with this lesson, what I want you to practice actually is to maybe pause the video for a moment and get used to just moving some of these notes around on the high E string. And you could pick one direction this way. Because that can be a little bit deceiving. Sometimes just even having the cleanness of that note and not rubbing against that finger, that could take a little bit of attention. You might have to drop your thumb if that's the case to really get on the tips of your fingers. That's something to think about. Now we're going to go to this chord next. Now this chord here is basically going to keep our F sharp in here. We're going to bring our middle finger over to the 5th string on the 3rd fret, and our 3rd finger is going to be here for our D note. So we have a nice voiced D, going to this one here. This is basically like a, the way I look at this, like a G over a B kind of, but you can look at it a lot of different ways, this chord. A D6 for all you technicians out there. And then we can go back this way. So what I like about those chords is any melody that I can create just off the top of my head. And you're taking the really sweetness of the song and making it completely different and your own. You're thinking of ways to keep a melody through a common chord change, and these are great sounding chords. Can't ever go wrong with chords that sound like this. Down to here. Maybe we can throw that in there somewhere at the same time. So this is going to be a nice way to play a G chord. I'm going to take this G. Now I'm leaving these fingers here. This is kind of like a D with an F sharp in the bass. I have, or in the bottom position, I have my F sharp, I have my A. You can see where all those bad boys are. And then I can go back to my C note there or something, or maybe even to my E. That's a nice way to do an E chord. I think that's one of the greater ways to voice that personally. So let's see what we have here. Strum it a little bit. You get some nice changes in there, and those are all things that we can kind of take into our own. So if I have a D chord, maybe I'll voice it this way to start. I'll play my regular D bar chord, and then maybe I can even take that further and invert it more. Get some of those fancy double stops I like to do. And then from there, maybe I'll take this chord, because I had the best part about it is this dude here, the F sharp. I'm gonna put it like this. Now that's the cover of a magazine for sure, so we're well on our way. If we have a C here, we're going 8, 10, 12, 11. So I can go like this maybe. This is kind of a cool extension of a chord here, you know, where you're just playing a C power chord and you put your first finger here. So with this, the way that I've always referred to it or thought of it is just think of this as the octave or the root note right here. So this is basically a G chord that you're playing. You can look at it like this kind of. Back in my punk rock days, this was one of the chords we used to roll all the time. 95, Fat Records, punk rock. There it is. That's the chord. That's the big famous one. Okay, so from here, what do we got? We have a D. We've changed. And you know, you're taking these notes and you're making them up here. And I think one of the greatest things you can do to learn on the guitar is take something and move it somewhere. That's always really important. Then we have this one. That's the cover of the magazine kind of chord. We can do our stretch chord maybe here, so we don't have to travel as far. I think you see where we're going with this, people. Dramaticism. Great inspiration coming from fantastic chord changes. Go to the website, everybody. That's enough of my yapping. nextlevelguitar.com. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. I'm going to play it out because it sounds cool. And I will see you then. Thank you.